Nice to be on snow. I've been ski joring since about mile 3.0, past Yetna Station, and so it's nice. This is to actually be on snow rather than ice. I'm pretty tired. They're doing great, and we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that with it being on snow, my legs will be a little less fatigued, but I'll push on through.
We're on snow, which is nice. I'm melting snow and getting it easily as packed snow. I did notice that when I was on, the few times I was on snow on the skis, it was a lot easier. So hopefully there'll be a lot less fatigue. Third day is always the hard day. Dogs are doing wonderfully. It's going to be me that's going to be the limiting thing. I like that.
Look at these guys. Those are happy, comfortable dogs. Snow dogs on snow, lying down, having done actually a fair amount of work so far. And we've got a whole bunch ahead of us. So here I am, and not pulling much right now. Dogs are doing great, and what can I say? It's a good day. We're in Happy River. I just made it through the steps. We've been beaten up by moguls left and right, but at least this is a little bit of a reward. We're clearly in the Alaska range. This is Rainy Pass Lodge, probably one of the prettier spots along that I've seen of the Iditarod Trail. This is an incredible section of trail. This is crossing the Alaska range. Alright, just to tell people I'm really not shitting when I say my dogs don't follow a trail. This is sort of a very old snowmobile trail. This is the real trail. This is where Lamia wanted to take us. This is where we should go. So made a really sad error last night that cost not so much mileage as time. I was about 19 miles out, saw some nice campsites, and wanted to push on a little bit, just to get past 20. I thought the snow would continue to improve. It didn't. We got some more bare conditions rather than snowier conditions. The good news is I'm at Farewell Lake, so I know where I am. I can't be too far from the trail, but I still am pretty much stuck with backtracking. So I wasn't a total idiot, and basically only up in the last mile and a half, 2 miles or so, was I really off. And I can see why. There's no way I could see that. Well, if I hit it with the headlamp, I probably would have seen it, and I would have looked for a crossing. There is no crossing right here. They probably had one. It's out. Bear Creek Public Shelter. Got a chance to at least defrost my ski boots. Well, here's my humble abode, at least where I've been living for the past 24 hours. Just right around that, just a hair over it. In Nikolai. I made it to Nikolai yesterday. The dogs had an easy run yesterday. It was one of 3 they've had. The other 5 days we've been out on the trail have been varying from hard to brutal. We had at least 3 brutal runs and 2 hard ones for them. For me, it's been a little bit different. I've only had really 2 brutal runs and a bunch of hard runs, but only 1 easy run. Yesterday was not an easy run for me. While they were dealing with pretty easy snow conditions, I had to dodge trenches and bare spots in the burn on skis. I did about 25 miles on skis, so I was pretty tired when we got in yesterday. Here we are on the Kuskokwim, about almost 10 miles outside of Nikolai. Hike.
This morning, it probably got well below 0 last night, maybe 10 below. Last night, according to predictions, at least for a while, should be the coldest night we see.
Well, here I am. I'm in Takotna. Here's my mess.
Lamia? Lamia. Hi, Lamia. How you doing?
I'm eating snow dead. The interior. First time I saw the stunted trees, the interior was 1977, driving the Alcan. And I've always found them a bit charming. Well, as good as yesterday was, today is kind of miserable. It started very quickly. I hit some iced overflow there where the ice was thin and actually fell in. Boots got soaked. Everything else was pretty good. It's warm, so I'm not too worried about anything. There's certainly no safety issue, and of course I have the other pair of boots, which I now have on. I've hit my last mogul for at least today, and I don't know what I'm going to do in terms of moguls, but I have a fair shot that I could be able to do this in my Neos and Baffins. They've worked well so far, and I can handle the moguls. I haven't found a way to do the moguls with the skiing.
We're about 15 miles south of Cripple. We did make the mileage we needed to do yesterday. Not by a lot, but my goal is 29 miles and 9 hours is a minimum. We have to be doing those kinds of numbers. 29 will get us into Ruby just at the end of our supplies.
Here we are. Dogs are pulling. This should be a really easy pull for them. And they're just, hike! Motorman. And they're just hesitating. They're not having any fun.
The other case, which was arguably more dangerous because of what the potential was, Musher ran into the tent. It's not that bad a pass. I mean, it's not trivial. It's pretty close to trivial if you want to do it. You just got to take it slow. She hit the tent and the cord and knocked the whole thing around. Maybe it's partly my fault because I don't have a great placement. I think she could have easily avoided it. Every musher since then has. But what's appalling, really appalling, is she didn't stop to see if I was okay. Well, here I am. We did about 24 miles yesterday. I was hoping for 25, but had an absolute minimum of 22, and we were on the trail for a little over 8 hours, so it wasn't horrific. It wasn't great by any means. I was a little scared because we started out really, really slow and then hit a steady pace for almost all of the day. It was much slower than I'd liked. We were averaging about 3.3 miles an hour, 3.2, something like that. But we could do that without brakes. The dogs, I went with very few brakes, and the dogs had no problem with that. The brakes were only for me at that point. Give them a little bit of kibble, which they liked. Might as well give them something that makes them feel a little bit better. Well, there's a bit of encouraging news. The Iditarod Trail sweeps just passed. It's real time, later than it should be. 10 after 11. And everybody agrees on everything. Oh my goodness. I'm just looking out this is a musher. I'm looking out the window and in camp, at least, my boy Prudo is having a solid bowel movement. He hasn't for a while. The dog's really upset, and I think that's most of it. Here we are in camp, last camp. I assume that's the summit. It's got to be based on the GPS of the Poor Man Ruby Road. It's a pretty spot. It's strange being in the last camp and knowing that it is. Obviously, I have to understand what's going on with the dogs a little bit better in terms of their attitudes. Physically, I think I got everything right. I think it just really is what Jim Galley said, that they're looking for an end of the line. There isn't any. And so they're stressed out like crazy, and not pulling, and not real happy with me, which is really the bottom line. It's what's made this decision to pull out Ruby so easy is I'm not running with dogs that are unhappy. I mean, they may not be happy every instant. I'm not happy every instant, but in general, they should be enjoying this. And this has become kind of miserable for them, and they are my family. I'm hoping they forgive me for this, my humanity. That's the worst I do as a human being. I can live with it. I'm thinking they can. Dogs are really very tolerant of that kind of stuff. And I guess that's about it.